We are talking to immigration attorney from Los Angeles, Amy Ghosh. So, Amy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thanks
So,
for inviting me.
as you know, right now, in my opinion, human tragedy is unfolding among the Indians aspiring for the green card. It's not only the issue of queue is long because of several, I would say, very errant decision on immigration. People are even afraid to visit their ailing fathers. Wait,
Yes.
yes, people can, but wait to see an ailing parent who is on deathbed, probably nobody can afford. It's a very emotional trauma. That's why I'm saying it's a human tragedy, and I'm experiencing it not from one, not from two, from many. So today I'm with Amy Ghosh to figure out whether she can provide some roadmap, some avenues. I know that all pains cannot be alleviated, all pains cannot be eliminated, but certainly there might be ways that people can take which can give them some solution, maybe some more brighter hope and better decision in life. In view of that, Amity, my first question to you is that right now, can you give me a little bit of idea of how much is the delay in EB1, EB1 national waiver category, sorry, EB2 national waiver category, EB2, EB3, forget about the case, it's not for the Indians anymore. Then EB1A and EB1B. And also, if you can explain what are the, so I'll come back to that question of what is EB1A and EB1B, but tell me right now, how much is the waiting period? And then
So
we'll go to the next
EB1A
question.
is about 3 years, and EB1B, which is for the researcher and the managers, is about 4. There are many people who came here on H1B visa to work here, and then they eventually did a labor certification, and they have an approved I-140, and they are basically waiting for uh, uh, to do the adjustment of status when the visa number becomes available. And right now, for Indian people, there's a long waiting time, 12, 14 years waiting time for the visa number to be available so they can get adjusted. Some of the people who have children born outside US, their situation is even worse because their child can age out. When they become 21, basically they will age out from the parents' petition. So there are real serious concern. And as an alternative, I can suggest about the EB1A or EB2 national interest waiver. Today's discussion, we are mainly focusing on EB1A, and we want to talk about few of the criteria. Original contributions of major significance, one of the main criteria, and that's where it used to be people can get used to just get letters from expert or PhD advisor. That is not the case anymore. You need to really show maybe multiple patents or patent portfolio to prove the original contributions of major significance. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, so let's talk about first what are those 6 criteria that people need to fulfill. So, first of all, what is the difference between EB1A and EB1B? And secondly, what are the criteria for both the cases, EB1A and EB1B? I think there is similar criteria almost with a little bit of
Yes,
difference. So, if you can
but
explain that
EB1,
in detail.
yeah, EB1A is more like exceptional ability you need to show, and EB1B is
I think
you don't need to be,
you're
you don't
getting
need
off
to
the
be a man.
camera. Can you move a little bit this side? You're
Yes,
getting off the
yes.
camera.
You don't need to be a manager or high degree holder for EB1A. But if you have multiple patents, if you have written papers, journal, and if you get a high salary, then you there are six to about 10 criteria. If you have gotten international award, which are kind of unlikely, people who are software engineers who came here to study, because this EB1A category is really for outstanding people. For example, some Olympic athlete, they qualify for EB1. Nobel, someone who has received Nobel Prize, okay, they qualify for EB1. So just because they have a Nobel Prize, they right away qualify for EB1. Okay, but most of the people, we are trying to give them a solution who are average people who came here doing H1B work, how they can develop portfolio and do certain things so they can qualify for EB1. Aren't we discussing that today?
Yeah. So that is the point. See, the majority of the Indians came through TCS, Infosys, Cognizant, Larsen and Toubro, and obviously now they're stuck.
HCL and all
And
those
it's a
companies. Yeah.
little bit of a tragedy. I say again, it's another case of human tragedy where they're earning high with no
Yes.
certainty how long that earning will continue. It's so bad.
Exactly. No certainty
And
at
as you
all.
said, the children are growing up. You don't know whether and especially if the children are not born yet. If the children are born there, at least they have some safety that fine, the parent, and they can sponsor for the parents. So that's later on. But the children who are not born there are many families. I think for most of the families, especially in the software industry, they came on the later stage. See, academic people don't have that much of problem. They can do EB1. They came right away. They got married after PhD,
Exactly.
so they have the children out here. But it's not the case with the software engineers. They're mostly
No,
kids who
no,
born in
no.
India and then they came here, right?
Yes.
So, discussing about that, we are mostly trying to salvage the second part. We're in a bigger travel. So basically, as you rightly
Exactly.
pointed out,
Exactly.
and I mean, they're in software industry. Some of them have master's degrees, some of them have MBA, most of them have BTech only. But huge experience
Yes.
and good salary because of experience. The question is, how do you turn that experience into an EB1 documentation? That's the question here.
Exactly. Exactly. So I told you some of the categories: that original contribution of major significance. That's where patent comes into play. Authorship of scholarly articles, judging the work of others, high remuneration, then leading and critical role in a distinguished organization, and then membership in some high level association. When I say membership in association, just because you are paying a membership fee and becoming a member of IEEE, it's not something like that. Maybe some high category. I am, if you know this, if there's some
Yeah.
selective membership,
I mean,
which
those are who are elective member of some, let's say, Chemical Society of United States or something like that. Now, to I think only thing that is straightforward here is high salary. That I think many of the people will qualify.
exactly.
But the
Yes,
second
yes,
problem, let's
exactly.
talk about
And
then
maybe
their
maybe to
original.
some extent, hold on. Maybe to some extent, leading and critical role in a distinguished organization, they can prove that also.
Correct. So two criteria that fulfill. Now come to the third. So their one option
Yes.
is prove an original contribution to that field. Uh, I think that will be easier because they cannot get admitted to the association because again, you get admitted to the association only if you have an original contribution to the field. It's not other way around.
Yes.
So then if they can prove high salary, if they can prove their good position, then third criteria definitely has to be some kind of original contribution. There is no other choice they can go for. So question
Yes.
is, can they do file or publish some good publication in order to prove that they have some original contribution, outstanding contribution in that field?
No, no, of course they can do some publications. Again, those has to be scholarly article. Those articles needs to be cited by various people. So just writing one article will not do. It should be multiple article, even 5, 10, 15 articles. It needs to be done. Maybe interviews, things like that, if they can arrange something like that. But again, all these things can happen if they have few patents, and so
Well,
tell us
patent is
about how
easier
they can do
because
it.
patent
Yeah.
USPTO government approved that you have a novelty, and then if you have actually done a good work, then multiple people will cite the patent, will prove the worthiness of the patent as well. And there are independent patent evaluator also you can get, and they can find out the value of your contributions. I think patent is probably more safer bet in my view. That's
Exactly.
what I learned when I did my EB1. One thing I would like to mention to many of the people who want to file patent, because I have more than 30 patent in US, that you should not view patent as a expense if you have to file a patent. It's a business by itself. The most funny thing about patent is your technology might be, see, if you, so as an engineer, if you develop a technology get outdated in 2 to 3 years. But patent don't. It lasts for more than 10, 20 years, as long as you pay for the licensing fee. So it's like a housing asset. You invest it and then, so typically a minimum patent value is $40,000. And if you really have solved a problem, haven't given an original idea, easily you can make hundreds of thousands out of a patent. So basically it's an investment, not in my view, it's even an expense. I mean, you do an investment after 4 5 years.
So as you mentioned that whatever money they're spending.
Yeah, and that is the original intent, by the way. I mean, if you look at the EB1, if you have done an original contribution, it's the fast way to understand is that your patent should have a very high value in the market, sellable, very liquid asset. It's like a home, it should be like a very liquid asset so that you make money. I mean, no bullshit. I mean, and if you make a crappy patent, then it's very difficult. You don't get anything in either way. It becomes an expense. So anyhow, so beyond that point, so I think the original contribution patent is good. After that, you told what are the other criteria? That is basically recommendation.
Scholarly article, judging work of others, high remuneration, leading critical role in your company. And again, these letters just cannot be a letter from your manager, letter from your friend. It should be some an independent expert witness. Also, you have to summarize. If you have a very highly technical patent, you have to summarize them.
Pause for a moment. See, by expert witness in a legal tech industry, see, I work as an expert witness in a legal tech industry. So I have to go to a lot of criteria, like, for example, if you really want to be an expert witness in a case, you go to a lot of vetting that are you qualified for that expert witness. Now, if somebody is giving the, let's say, recommendation later as an expert witness, how is that, I would say that, how do you make sure that...
Their biodata must be attached with the letter, and they need to be people of that stature. They themselves need to have patents. They themselves need to be top in their field. They need to have a PhD degree. They have to have a PhD degree. Yes.
Right. So meaning they themselves has to be better than EB1 category that they're recommending for.
Of course. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that is a good criteria. Okay, fine. So that is good. And then what are the other one, that other criteria?
Other criteria, I would say high remuneration, they can prove through BLS OES data. Bureau of Labor Statistics website, we can go there and show through their occupational code, SOC code, that they are getting a salary in their area. For example, if they live in Los Angeles or they live in New York in a particular county, whatever the salary, and their salary is kind of above 90th percentile. So that's a measurement showing that, it's like in the top percentile for his occupation and geographic area.
Because most of the Indians are earning in a high category. So I think this one is a much easier to do. So I think that it is not a very hopeless situation, because I do see that
not at all.
They can put the salary, they can put the position. All they have to do, they have to file a couple of patents, which is not a bad investment, because it's like investing in your stock and you're expecting the stock to multiply 5-6 times in 5 years, which is not a bad value. So I think EB1, they should take it as a spirit of an adventure, and they can actually do it, because if they can file a right kind of patent, there all the EB1 expenses paid for as well as
exactly. They can recoup the money. Yeah.
Now I'll touch a little bit on the EB5 category. So the point is, people also ask, why not EB5? Because right now, EB5 is $800,000, but you can pay $400,000, and $400,000 is contributed sometime by the regional centers. So what is your experience? I mean, what do you hear about EB5?
That is good. Many regional centers are not good, but there are few regional centers, they are doing really good job, and they will manage your money properly, and they will do all the documentations properly. So if you go with a right regional center, basically you give them the money and you don't have to do anything. They are going to do the business plan. They are going to show the job creation. They are going to do all of that for you, the regional center.
Yes, I mean, I know one regional center in Alabama, basically is in the oil field. It's basically investment in the oil field where even money can multiply. So actually, the money that 800 or 400 you pay, actually you can get a lot more. But again, I mean, there are good and bad. They have to really look into the right regional center in order to sell it to. But I think the immigration attorney cost is going to be in the north of 25 grand or something like that. That's the
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah, but some people can afford that. It's not that deal. So, okay, thank you, Amity. Thank you for being with us. I don't want to make it a very long video, but I think after hearing from you, what I feel is that there is hope, because salary is there, position is there. All they have to do a little bit of patent filing, and then they can qualify for EB1, which is very good news in my view.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll talk again. Thank you.
Thank you.